Hello, welcome everybody this evening. I'd like to call our meeting to order for the Lacey Parks Culture and Recreation Board meeting. It is April 5th, 2023, 5:30 p.m. We'll start with our additions or deletions to the agenda. Do we have any additions or deletions to the agenda at this time? I would like make a motion to approve the agenda as written.
Make a motion.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll move on to announcements and introductions. And at this time, we have 3 new commissioners. So we'd like to get your names first. And then when we go to our commissioners report, we'd like to get a little bit more information about you a little later into the meeting, just so you get comfortable with the process, if that's okay. So we'll start inside the building first. All right. And we'll start with,
Okay, my name is Hillary Dykstra. And what else did you want me to say about myself? Just anything?
yeah.
Okay,
We'll do that at the later part of our meeting. So we'll get to know you a little bit more, but you're Commissioner.
Hillary Dykstra.
Okay. Welcome to our meeting today.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Hi, I'm Bill Fosbury.
Welcome.
Hi, my name is Chris Perazzo.
Welcome, Chris. And then you want to go online
Go
now?
ahead.
Okay, I'm Commissioner Goodwin and I'm also the chair. And we have Parks Director.
Oh, sorry, I was going
You're
with
s-
board.
you're
Okay,
still-
oh, you're doing.
You're
all-
still in
got it.
house. We're
Okay,
still in
I'm Jen Burbidge, Director of Parks, Culture and Recreation. Welcome to the new commissioners and everybody else.
So excited.
I'm Camber Good, co-chair, commissioner. Hi.
Hi,
Sarah Smith, I'm the Executive Assistant for Parks, Culture and Recreation.
Do we have anybody participating outside?
We do have a member of the public, and once we get to the public comment section, if you want to hit the raise hand button, if you have any public comment you'd like to make, just let us know. I'll take a look back when we get to that section.
Thank you, Sarah. And then we're doing introductions.
Jerry Larson,
Commissioner Larson, welcome.
had to park in at 40 because I got my trailer hooked to my truck.
Oh my goodness. I'm glad you could make it just in the nick of time. All right, and we do not have any members from the public in the building.
Right.
Okay.
true.
Do you have any announcements?
I do. I wanted to just give a shout out to our youth commissioner, Sarah Town, and I didn't see that she's here yet.
She just popped in. I'm promoting her to a panelist, so she'll pop on in just a second.
Oh, perfect. Okay, so she can introduce and then I'll give her a shout out. I'm here.
There she is.
Hi, Sarah.
Hi.
Would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Sarah Town and I'm the youth representative for the Board of Parks, Culture and Recreation.
Thank you. And I just wanted to give you a shout out. Sarah reported out at the the Joint Youth Council, City Council work session recently. And I just thought she did a great job and she told some of the things that we're working on here that you all are working on the Parks Board. So good job, Sarah. Thank you for doing that.
Thank you, Sarah. Appreciate you.
And I didn't have any other announcements.
All right, moving on to the approval or correction of our March meeting minutes. Does anybody have any corrections for the March meeting minutes? I would like to make a motion to approve the March meeting minutes as written.
second.
All those in favor?
Hi.
Aye.
All those opposed? Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I move to approve the March meeting minutes as written. Moving on to correspondence, I trust everyone has read them. They were sent to you in your packets. If you have any suggestions for the next meeting, there was a note that all the board members responded via Jen. But if there's anything at this time that you would like to note, based on the correspondence? Hearing nothing, we will move to public comment. Is there anyone online for public comment?
If you'd like to make a public comment, just hit raise hand and I can go ahead and allow you to speak. If not, no, currently we do not. Yep, we do not have any public comments online at this time.
And we do not have any in the building. All right, old business, the Greg Cuyo Park Phase 1A update.
Okay, thank you, Chair. So staff met with the consultants for the new Greg Cuyo Park on March 7th and also on the 21st. And so things are progressing along. They also met yesterday, April 4th. I was out of the office, but I did see the follow-up email that we've adjusted the 90% design completion review period. HBB Landscape Architects is the lead firm on the project, and they will be submitting the updated 90% drawings by April 7th. So that's Friday. And then the city will have until April 19th to make comments. So Commissioner Larson, I know you wanted a hard copy, so I was waiting until they submitted the latest.
Right. From the other one. I'll also get the specifications.
Yep. So I'll get you both of those.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll get you both of those after we receive
Yeah.
the new submittal, so that you have the latest information.
Hmm.
And then the next steps will be it looks like April 24th and 25th will be a meeting with the consultants for any comment resolution and a prioritization meeting. And then April 24th through May 5th, the consultants will pick up the priority comments for permit submittals. May 5th is the date for permit deliverables to HBB. And then May 8th through 12th is the permit packaging. And then May 12th is on the timeline for submitting all of the permits. So there's several different permits. It's a big project. And I typically have been, for the new commissioners, I've been giving kind of the higher level updates. Commissioner Larson has shown specific interest because of the industry that he was in for 30 plus years, 40 years.
What industry were you in?
Oh, sorry. Do you want to just share quick background? I know we're going to be sharing more later about each commissioner.
So I graduated from St. Martin's College of Civil Engineering, and I kind of drifted my career into specializing in as a consultant to several school districts. Mostly I had a contract with North Thurston for over 22 years with them, and I managed all their construction and projects, architectural selection, handled all the permitting, did the construction meetings. And then I did other specialized fire stations too. So I had a very successful career, very enjoyable career working with the kids. And so a lot of the fields, places, parks, yeah, I've designed them.
Oh, wow.
So,
Thank you.
yeah, but I'm pleased to be on the board. And take my talents. Yeah.
Yeah, so he's offered to help really give our design plans a real deep dive and just see if anything stands out, and also the specification package too. So we really appreciate that.
Now I got a question. The permitting, who's the permits are for the building? Who's it going to, the county or the city?
So, right, because the park property is both in the county and in the city limit. And so our Community and Economic Development Director, Grant Beck, is working on an agreement with the county to see if all the permitting can be done through the city only.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, so I haven't received an update. He said he was working on it and he thinks we're close. But I want to say off the top of my head about 8 permits that our capital projects team. So our capital projects team for a project like this sits in the Public Works Department. And so they've got a project manager and they've got engineers. Actually, for this project, we're actually contracting out, but they are the ones who help make sure all the boxes are checked off. So
Yeah, now do you have in your planning a wetland specialist? Wetland review is
So Skilling's Connolly is a
doing the.
subcontractor under HBB Landscape Architect doing the wetland.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I thought what might be helpful for the new commissioners, and just a reminder for all commissioners, is to just bring a couple slides to show you about the project. I'll either bring it to the May meeting or maybe the next one. So since we have the comprehensive plan, which is such a large project, we will probably have to spend the bulk of our next meeting on that.
Okay.
So I'll just see how the agenda pans out, but just know that I'll be giving you more of an update with some pictures. That'll be helpful for you all.
Some of the,
Yeah.
if we share some of them.
Yeah, I mean, we could even send out, so the most comprehensive update we have was one that went to the city council, first came to the Parks Board and then to the city council in December of last year. So actually, if that's helpful to you, we could email that out. Okay, we'll do that.
It's a big park.
Yeah, it's essentially 139 acres out of the total 537 acre space there's 3 parks that are adjacent. It's Great Cuyo Park, Pleasant Glade Park, and Palm Creek Headwaters, and that makes up 537 acres total. Carpenter Road goes through the middle of that. And so this project is phase 1A and it's 139 acres. It's in the kind of in the middle. So
Did they do the SEPA review already? All that? They did.
So the SEPA review is just getting started.
Is it gonna need a grade and fill permit?
There is, I think that's one of them. I don't know if it's titled that exactly. I do have a list of all the permits. I would have to log into our grants portal to look it up. So I'm happy to share that with you.
Oh, wait, they needed a grade and fill.
Great.
permit.
Are
Oh,
you
Yeah, it's a grading permit. I'll tell you what, I'll do a screenshot of all the permits and when I send out the slides, and then that can show you what's being worked on.
Were you trying to get like administrative approvals of those? Is that what you guys are trying to do?
So for the 90%, basically our design, the city staff is looking at it, the capital projects team. Is taking a look to make sure that all the boxes are checked off and that the specifications match what's actually in the design
Okay,
documents. Just to make sure that we're ready and that we have, one of the big things that we're gonna get out of it is the 90% cost estimate too. So that's a
Yeah.
really big one that I've been waiting for, but they're still kind of tweaking, tweaking little things that are gonna affect the price. So yeah, that's one of the big pieces that we're getting out of this as well. Just to be able to move on to that 100%, because the overall timeline is we're wanting to open the park to the public in 2024.
Okay.
And it would be great if it could be summer of 2024, just because it's summertime. There's no guarantees on that, but the idea right now is to get out to add or to get the bids out for a construction company by the end of this year or even early next year. That's the most favorable bidding season. And then construction could start once the weather is.
Yeah,
Is
I
right.
think you can make it if take a long time to do that. My book would be done in 9 months.
Oh, 9 months for construction?
Now, one building mostly grading and this work, you don't have a lot of that other than just golf, and that's mostly staying naturally, it's, yeah, I don't see it as a complex spot, The cost will reflect that.
Yeah, well, I think that, so you're saying 9 months, so if we broke ground in the spring, it wouldn't be till fall for an opening, is that what you're saying? Yeah, I mean, it's possible. That's what would happen.
Unless you're on the team, you can stand out there and
I did none.
Yeah, I know, right, but going down.
Thank you for.
And we'll get the other documents sent out to you. Any other questions about Great Cuyo Park Phase 1A?
Moving on to the Lacey Park Culture and Recreation Comprehensive Plan update.
Yeah, so with the comprehensive plan update, we wanted to share what the new format is going to look like. And so Sarah Smith has got that.
All right, so I'm just gonna go pretty slow. The information we've all read before, so I'm gonna just show you guys the outline. This is just what the actual structure will look like. They were kind of send me a sample. We don't have to go through all 63 pages, but just enough to give you guys an idea of what it's gonna look like. So this is gonna be our new cover. Very nice, much better than the Word document we've been throwing around. But they've been doing a great job of listing folks. You guys will all be listed here, so I'll have to make some additions for the vacant positions, which they obviously already knew about. We've got our table of contents section, our executive summary. And they're doing it all in our color palette that we had approved, which I think looks great. And they're leaving us some space for large photos to move around if we want.
That was a big deal for us. So we have graphic communications working on this. And we really want the full page pictures, especially between the different sections of the comprehensive plan.
And they did this with our meetings, which I think is so cool. That I didn't ask them to, she just went ahead and did it, which I love, thank you. It was just a screenshot before, for anyone that didn't know. But they went through our strategic goals, she's added our maps in. She's added in a bunch of our new pictures I sent over to her. And then she's left some space for us for full page photos, which is awesome. But so far, I think it looks great. And if you look at the background, you can kind of see it's like almost a trick of the eyes. She actually watermarked in our parks logo at the very back of the page.
I was wondering if it was a trick of my eyes, like.
Yeah.
Kind of lingers sometimes.
It's very cool. I think that's an awesome decision for them to have made. Very cool. I'm super excited about this. I think it looks great. So I'm just clicking through and we've got more maps, so many maps, some cute, very cute pictures. And then, I put the first part in twice. So that takes us, that's what we've got so far, just as an example for everybody to see, like, we are working on it. It's moving along. Hopefully after we get it approved and we get some changes approved by our historical commission, we can update more pages and have even more to show you guys next time. But that's the new format.
Great, thank you, Sarah.
Thanks, Sarah.
Yeah, so what's that?
What is this going to be used for?
Okay, so this is the Lacey Parks Culture and Recreation Comprehensive Plan. So this is our 6-year plan update. I think we touched on it
Yes, we did.
briefly at the orientation. But this is our guiding document for the whole department. So it's
Yeah, it used to look like.
a really big deal.
Aw.
So
This is a wonderful upgrade.
Yeah, so and we didn't put anything in your packet this time for content. So what we're working on right now is that, like Sarah just mentioned, a bunch of the items about the museum and moving, forward to the new museum has been updated, and that's going to the historical commission. So this plan will actually go through, it's been to Parks Board pretty much every month for the last 6 months. We've gone to Commission on Equity twice because they're doing a diversity, equity, and inclusion strategic plan. So we want to make sure we infuse, some of that stuff in. And then it's gone to Historical Commission twice. It'll go a third time. And then it's going to come back to Parks Board in the new format. And that's the point at which you all will get to review it and see if there's any suggested edits or recommendations that you have. We're definitely working on the maps. We're hoping to have better, the maps are not labeled very well right now. So we want to make sure those look better. And then all of it will go to the Planning Commission. They're the ones who work on the comprehensive plans for the city. And so there's a city comprehensive plan that the parks plan is one piece of. And but they take those, the planning department takes those all to city council like the same time of year every year. And so we don't have full control on when that'll go. I know that we want to get it to planning commission in July. And then when it goes to council from there, that's the piece I'm not exactly sure. It could be August, it could be September. But by the time it goes to planning commission, we want it pretty much ready from the Parks Board.
Nice bow on it.
Yeah. But yeah, it's been a big project and we've been working with the public for 2 years in getting feedback. We've had several surveys that have gone out and you'll learn
I
more.
remember seeing I did the QR code survey. At
Oh,
Woodward.
good.
Can I hand it to you?
There was just like little signs, you know,
Everywhere.
everywhere. I was like,
With-
Yeah, Chair Goodwin
Awesome, easy.
was super involved in that. Chair Good was out there as well in the parks, having people take surveys.
that's wonderful.
So it's been a really fun process and we're excited to as it culminates into the final plan. So we'll look forward to your suggestions. You're kind of coming in a little bit late to the process, but hey.
But you have fresh eyes. We've looked
Yes.
at it so many
Yeah,
times
sure.
that it's nice to have fresh eyes to kind of go back through and review it one more time, especially from the public, because you're kind of coming from the public.
Yeah.
The commission spot. So it's really, I'm excited.
Absolutely. Yeah, I did attend youth council on March 16th, so that's news since we last met. They didn't have any recommendations except for they wanted to make sure when we talk about the indoor recreation facilities that teen opportunities are represented. So I thought that was great feedback. We have set up our task force meeting for April 26th from 6 to 7:30. So we had an outreach team made up of members of the public and we had a few Parks Board members on that team as well. And so then what we've done now that we have taken the input and we've made the prioritized action list in the plan. Now what we're doing is we're gonna add a few members of the public to the task force that represent those different groups or areas of Lacey where there's prioritized actions indicated. And so what we want to do with the task force, so the outreach team agreed to become a task force the last time we met, just to double check us on things. So they're going to be double checking what the plan has in it at this point. And that's going to be on April 26th. That's here at City Hall from 6 to 7:30. And like I said, intent is to double check the priorities compared to the feedback we received from the community. And I just wanted to confirm with you, Chair Goodwin, it's you and Commissioner Wheeler that are on that task force. Do you all, you have options and he's not here, but you can drop off at this point and just let the task force do their thing, or you're welcome to just keep it consistent and stay on the task force.
Oh, I'll stay on the task force. I mean, I was outreach before. I think it's interesting to be task force now. But
Okay.
yeah, I'm fine with that. Yeah,
Okay, did you receive the invitation
I did.
for the 26th?
Yeah.
Okay. And I believe, Sarah, did we send it to Commissioner Wheeler as well?
Yes, Commissioner Wheeler is still available and wants to be part of it.
Oh, perfect. Okay, so that's great. So we want a couple of Parks Board representation, but it should be mostly community. And we need to avoid having a quorum
Oh,
too, so.
well, unless you want the opportunity, do you want them to have an opportunity to be on the task force?
I thought it made the most sense to have you and Commissioner Wheeler.
Okay.
Since you started with it.
But I will be there. I will share my information.
Awesome.
I promise.
Yes.
I promise to share everything I learned.
I think that's about all I have on that. Unless there's other questions about that.
I'm very excited. Thank you for your hard work on putting all of that together and all the support for that. Much appreciated.
Yep, I'll be spending a lot of quality time in April on that. I've got to figure out how to clear my schedule a little bit more to be able to get the stuff done that needs to be done, so.
If you need us, we're here.
Okay.
We will cheer you on or
Thank you.
we'll throw popcorn at you.
Yeah. So.
All right, new business. We're going into the joint work session follow-up. And we held that on March 23rd, 2023. and that was with city council. We discussed the Great Cuyo Park, the Greenways Master and Comprehensive Plan. Also went over our Energize Lacey Community Outreach, which was launched in 2022 to prepare us for 2023. We had grants and donations that were highlighted. The Park Foundation donated for the youth scholarships and 2 rugby goals at the rack field number 4. North Thurston Public Schools donated to the Playground Pals, camp and day camp and free lunch programs. We also had Safe Environment for Every Kid, which is our SEEK programs that we have. Those were summer day camps, and the OSPI funds were partnerships between AWC and Washington Recreation and Park Association. We also had 20 acres donated to us adjacent to the Mullen Road habitat, which is all preserved. So that's new for us to be working with. Lacey Parks Culture and Recreation Scholarship Policy and Program Analysis has been started. So we went through all the scholarships for people that are needing a little assistance to get their children into programs in the community. Also worked on the sponsorship and naming rights policy, and we did the updates for those during the work session. Walk and roll partnerships were discussed. We also had the wildlife information with the QR codes that we went over with Sarah Smith is going to be helping, and Commissioner Good has also been working on that, and our youth representative. So it's been a work in progress. Our 4 targeted parks for the QR codes are going to start with Lowe's Lake, Wanchers, and Wonderwood, as those are already established parks. And then during our phasing process, we'll move into Great Cuyo as the phasing of that gets built. So then people can scan the QR code and learn about the wildlife and habitat in those areas. Yeah, it's very exciting. And then we honored 2 park commissioners, Commissioner Dave Weber, who passed, and Ken Balsley, who recently passed away, which was very nice. It was heartfelt and kind for everybody to take a moment for them. And then we also got praise from the city council and our park director. Thank you, Jen, for highlighting all the great work that our Parks Commission has done and their hard work, dedication to Lacey. So it was very nice. I was honored to sit at the grown-up Thanksgiving table.
Yeah, we're all set up, horseshoe, and so the city council for the joint work sessions, they like to alternate, city council member, parks board member, city council member, parks board member, and so there's the mayor up at the front, and there's chair, Goodwin's spot, and she's like, oh, the big table, yeah, the big table.
You and Wheeler did one excellent job for the point.
Oh, thank
That
you.
was well thought through and done. I mean, I couldn't have done. I couldn't have done that. That lady caused it.
Oh.
She's pointing at me.
Oh, you're fine.
We got it done. We got the work done, but it was
Fine.
It was scripted. We did add some of our own little verbiage, which I appreciated, but yeah.
Good job, really.
Oh, thank you. Yes, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, she's the rock of it. I was sketchy at that. And that's what I have for the city council work session. Did you have anything to add?
I thought it went really well. We ended up being short on time, which was unfortunate, but just the way it goes with the scheduling sometimes. So there was other business for that night too as well. But yeah, I thought that the council was very supportive. I thought the board did a great job, and I thought all in all it was very, very positive. They approved the work plan, so that's always nice.
Yes. Got 2 thumbs up on that.
Does anybody else have thoughts about it?
Sorry, I took forever, but no, I think it went really well. You guys did really great over there, Wendy, you and Aram, and top notch.
Thank you, Commissioner Good. Thanks for being there. Appreciate it.
And new commissioners will get to join us next time. So it'll be early in the year. For 2024, we try to get in there in February. This year it was a little bit later just due to scheduling, but yeah, it'll be great.
All right, moving on to our scholarship policy update. I'll just make up words, scholarship. It's a scholarship policy update. And this is an actionable item. Do you want to go through it first, Forrest?
Yeah, so there is a lot of information in your packet about this scholarship policy, and we're really excited. This has been a long time coming. It's been a long time worked on, and so we'll go through kind of the history of it. I wanted to start off though, Sarah Smith, I want to thank her so much for doing a deep dive and an analysis on this. And so basically, in the past, we've had this, the Parks Department has had a scholarship policy, but it was kind of over the years, word of mouth. Some of the same people were using it over and over. And so we took a deep dive in 2019 and revamped it. One of our staff at the time, she's not with us anymore, but she compared to different cities, scholarship programs, and came up with a great format. And so then what happened is that the Parks Board at the time approved the new format and said, go forth, and then we want to see how it goes next year, and let's just take another look at it. Well, then what happened was COVID, everything stopped, and then kind of made a slow start back. So here we are finally taking that look at it. But we also fortunately have been able to get insights from the Commission on Equity, which was new in 2021. So we didn't have their insights originally on the policy. So Sarah did an analysis, and I'm going to let her, so she had already brought it. New commissioners won't have heard it before, but if you want to read through it, it's in the packet. She already brought this to the Parks Board as far as the analysis goes, but she was going to go over the key takeaways just to get us started. So I'll get to that page.
Yes, thank you. So the key takeaways from the analysis, we updated them a little bit after getting it more put together to bring to the Commission on Equity. So they changed slightly. Right now, we are expecting an increase in applicants and awards. So the number of people that are going to be applying to receive a scholarship, and then the amount of money that we give out to people who do apply, we are expecting that to increase. We're expecting more people to use their funds and not just have awarded funds, and to kind of make that a little bit more clear, we will award funds no matter what, whether someone uses them is up to them. So one of the things that I tried to do is break out the people who are actually awarded money and use it versus the people who are just awarded money. And so this year we're expecting an increase in that as well, but we're going to continue to track it. And then we are increasing our advertising efforts for the scholarship program a lot. We're trying to determine now which methods are going to the correct demographic. So the people that actually need it and are experiencing financial hardship, we're starting to really concert our outreach efforts to make sure we're reaching as many people as possible. We're putting up posters in schools. We're using Peach Jar newsletters. We're going to have flyers and applications at events. So if people show up to an event and there's someone who doesn't have access to the internet, they can fill out an application on site and leave it with our staff. And we're trying to get it translated into the top 5 languages in the city of Lacey. So we're going to make it more accessible to folks who may not have English as a first language. We're also putting up posters in the schools that are going to have a QR code for our playbook and for the scholarship program. We changed how it shows up on our website, which sounds small, but before it was kind of buried a little bit. And now it's just a button right at the top on our website, which is very cool. We're also adding a tab in our online registration guide, so people can register, or people can submit applications and register right from the Civic Rec site, which is where everyone adds their activities and programs. And we're looking at other opportunities as well, like going out into the community and talking to community groups. We're going to have information booths up for folks. We're talking about maybe putting out some staked signs that tell people when the dates are, with a QR code to apply if they can, and the website listed. So if they don't have access to something that can do a QR code, they can use the website. One of the takeaways that Jen's going to talk about more with the policy is, when we were going over the program, it was brought to our attention that youth experiencing houselessness are an overlooked demographic. So when we use things like a fixed address for folks, like you have to have an address in Lacey, when you're experiencing houselessness, you don't have a permanent address. You have a tenuous living situation. If you're actually out on the street, if you're couch surfing with friends, you don't really have that stability. So we reworked the policy to bring those kids in. and see if we can maybe make some special arrangements for kids that are in those situations. And then one of the things we want to talk about more of as staff and get some more insight with intercity transit, we'll talk more. We want to talk more about how to maybe address this a little better. We want to address some transportation barriers that could be considered for future policy revisions. So one of the reasons people might not be using their funds is because transportation doesn't take them where they need to go when they need to be there. So we're trying to see what other barriers of access we can impact, or at least what resources we can provide folks to maybe bridge those gaps a little better.
I have one question for you. For the houselessness issue that you were speaking of, if we have community members who are couch surfing or moving between, let's say Tumwater, Olympia, Lacey, can they still qualify in other areas? Or do they, how are we doing? Is it only Lacey? How are we?
So one of the changes we made to the policy, Jen's going to go into a little bit more. We work with the North Thurston County Public Schools homeless liaison. So they have like an itinerary or a list of people that are in that situation. And if someone brings us that letter that says from the liaison themselves, the liaison will usually send it directly to us. We just count that as their part of their application form, and that satisfies the residency requirement. So they just have to have a letter from the NTPS homeless liaison, and they're good to go.
Okay, and how, if we're doing this out in public, let's say we do a QR code or something of that nature, do we need, I'm gonna get that question. So how do I answer that? That yes, if you're residing, you know, in Olympia, yet continue to sign up, or?
Yes, if you have them continue to sign up and then, or just connect them with their in-school resources. So I believe all the school campuses have a homeless liaison, or there is maybe one who floats between the schools. But if you let them know to check in with their youth advisor or their school counselor or the homeless liaison at their school, that they can help them fill out all the paperwork.
Okay.
And they'll get it to us.
Yeah, and the Lacey policy and the scholarship program is supposed to be for those in Lacey or the school district. So they don't follow the city boundary, obviously. But you'll see in the new policy, which we'll get to next, there's a list of to Sarah's point, the referral letter that could come in. So you could have that information at your fingertips
I would love
if you're
that.
out at an event.
I would absolutely love that. Yes.
So thank you, Sarah, for
Thank you.
kind of going over those key takeaways. One of the things I really want to just kind of amplify a little bit more, she touched on it, is the advertising efforts for the correct demographic. So when so we actually both attended the Commission on Equity here a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, 2 Mondays ago.
2 Mondays ago. And the commission really, they didn't have a lot of feedback on the policy itself, but it was this piece about getting to the proper demographic. And so it was very eye-opening for myself, and I won't speak for Sarah, but she's nodding her head yes, but the fact that a lot of our parks don't have kiosks. We have kiosks that we can, post information in some of our larger parks and along our trails, but our neighborhood parks, we don't have actual kiosks. And so until that point at which we can afford to get those maybe put in, could we have like just the lawn sign that says scholarship program? Because they were sharing with us, the commission was sharing this, sometimes how few people really sign up for the digital letter or use social media, or even will go to a website. So we want to make sure that we're reaching people
Where they're at.
where they are.
And related to that, I guess, do we have anything, like I know patrolmen go out, the Lacey police go out and they see a couple of kids, what are you guys doing? They stop, talk to them and, hey, you getting into trouble, and say, hey, why don't you go? Because their parents are probably, not adequate or drunks or something, and they're not,
Or they're
you
working.
need encouragement too.
Yeah, work a lot of
What
jobs.
I'm saying, hey, there's some programs, why don't you consider doing that? I can get, do you guys have relationships with the Lacey?
We do just in general, but I think it's a really good point that you're bringing up about the scholarship program specifically, because it's one thing for them to bring up, hey, there's programs that you should participate in, but it'd be another thing to say, and there's financial assistance if that's something. that
Well,
would be-
yeah, then, because the parents may not do it, even if they go, oh, I don't want to mess with that, you don't need to do that. There's so many couple
Yeah.
children out there too. just-
Yeah, I think that's a great reminder. We do have CSOs in Lacey. They're the community service officers and they are frequently out in the community. So I think that's a great reminder.
Another venue might be daycare centers too, like not just schools, but I know my kids' daycare, they've had posters for events or activities for small kids. So might capture parents who have tiny kids that aren't in school.
So Jen, I have just a basic question. If
Yeah.
I go online to register for a program,
Mhm.
fill out the information, there's not like a checkbox that says I'd like a fee waiver for income eligibility.
No, there
So-
isn't. It's a great question.
So is there something then on the
Like a
online
prompt,
form
like a prompt
that
maybe.
says-
Oh, that's a good
fee
idea.
Actually,
waiver
that's
is a scholarship
Are you hearing this,
to
Sarah?
this?
Yes, I am writing it down, actually.
Let me show you. So if you go to lacyparks.org. I still need to share the screen so everyone can see what I'm talking about. Yeah, so this is the register. Here's the scholarships. And then we have the rules and then we have the application right here, but there isn't, so if you want to register for a program. And this is what comes up and then you can search, you have to actually log in. Here, and then, but we do have prompt capabilities. So that's not something that currently comes up. I think we do mention it, isn't it in here somewhere? I thought at one point we had a note on the main page about scholarships. I don't see it right now.
Yeah, if you scroll up to the top on the right, you can see the
Oh.
scholarship tab. We're just still filling out the information. We're waiting for the policy to be approved before we put anything concrete in that.
Okay,
Good.
yeah, so we can look into that. I think that's a great idea.
But it might also be the scholarship slash something else. I mean, scholarship, I don't know if everyone thinks of scholarship as the same as a
Like financial aid.
financial aid kind of.
Sometimes people see scholarship and they think like a merit-based.
Yeah, I have to
System.
apply for something.
Yes, I fill the essay out.
Oh, yeah.
maybe
Yeah, that could be
dance class,
intimidating.
I can't do anything.
Technology, interesting.
Yeah, so.
Because to
financial
me,
aid-
scholarship would be a merit, like,
Yeah.
oh, I gotta sit
Mhm.
down and do an interview
That's
and
interesting.
qualify for the scholarship, but
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, that is interesting, yeah.
But our lens might be different than
Mhm.
somebody who's reading it.
yeah,
Well, I
financial assistance might be
Mhm.
more.
yeah. Or something that gets taken to equity to ask them, what would be the correct terminology for.
interesting, yeah.
I'm writing all this down too, so.
Yeah, good. And I think that's a great point. And I think I'm so used to it just in the Parks and Recreation world
Mm-hmm.
of scholarships and they just have always existed. So I love the different perspective.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't know. I see what you're saying, yeah.
Yeah,
Social Security number and everything,
Yeah,
and income, and I haven't worked for 6 months.
yeah. There's also, World Relief is going to be operating in Thurston County, which is going to be placing refugees and immigrants in Thurston County, and they've never operated here before. So I wonder if that might be also a good entry point for advertising financial aid, especially if we have the applications in the languages. that-
Yeah, the South Sound Adoption and Foster Group would definitely need them in that way, because they're doing a lot of the refugee support and care programs.
Yeah. I could get you the name of the director for World Relief.
that'd be great. So one of the things, the public affairs, the assistant city manager who's over city clerk's office and public affairs and JASCOM and some of the other things, she is over the Commission on Equity. And so one of the things public affairs is working on is a master list of, organizations in Lacey, and they're gonna share that out with us
Yeah.
in parks because it's the same. They're reaching out for other reasons.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have a really good, robust list. So we're really excited about that too. That's something that we haven't had before. I mean, we've
Awesome.
obviously worked closely with public affairs, but it's gonna be actually on the website too, so that anybody can access it. So,
Cool.
but yeah, if you wanna send, you can send it to Sarah Smith.
Okay.
Great. Any other comments on the takeaways before we get into the policy?
I had one last, just observation. When I was reading through it, I noticed it said the physical applications will be available at City Hall. And where else? Just City Hall? But I'm wondering if,
So we do bring copies of, we do bring hard copies with us to events as well. So our information booth at all of our events has them.
Yeah,
So that way folks can just show up, and if they have questions, they can fill out a hard copy application there and leave it with our staff.
okay, would it, I guess the library is kind of right by City Hall, but having them actually in the library, because I don't know that many people do a lot of, like, families come into City Hall specifically.
Not really.
We were looking at homeschooling. We need to get a network with
Oh,
homeschooling
yeah.
children.
Mhm.
We need a network with the food bank. We need a network with the
Yeah,
food
food
clinic. There's a
banks.
lot of entities that do a lot of support work in those, but we just don't have. I mean, you gotta go there
Yeah,
and you gotta meet, like I said, meet them where they're at. And I think that's what we're really trying to do is meet them where they're at on the inner city transit.
mhm,
In the buses,
Yeah.
that'll be the walking up and like talking to people directly. I think that's.
yeah, and so I think that's an easy change. We could say at City Hall, because they're obviously here at our desk, or something to the effect of, or other key locations in the community, or something like that. And then if the library would let us, that's an easy change we can make, which would allow us to get them out there.
Or just post our pictures of if they see our faces, ask us for them.
See us around town.
Yeah, just ask her, she'll, ask him, you'll see him, just handing them out left and right.
Okay, so we are looking for an action, but let me get into the policy. So there's a lot of information, and what I wanted to point out is that one of the things we're really making a concerted effort is to get all of our policies in our department in the same format. So it's something that we haven't had. They've been in various formats. So that's why I put the old format in here, just so that you could see how it did read before. And then this is the new format, and this is the same as our sponsorship policy that just got approved. And we'll be sharing that with you tonight as well. But I wanted to let you know that, so we'll be going through this final version of it, but I wanted to show you that the rest of it is that public facing information. So that's not actually part of the policy, but we did put it in here just to show you some of the changes that we'll be making. If the policy gets approved, we will take all of that information and we'll put it into this public facing info. And that's why it's so messy, is because it's a work in progress. But we just wanted to include everything for you to be able to review. So with that, I'm just going to go through the policy itself. If you want me to go to any of the other pages, I'm happy to do that if you have questions. So this is the new format. Scholarship program policy. We have the purpose, and this purpose did not change from the 2019 update. So the three main reasons is to offer program opportunities to those in the community who could not afford to participate otherwise, to advertise it so that it's more accessible and known throughout the community, which we were just talking about. And then creating a stable source of funds in dedicated accounts, accepting donations and promoting the scholarship program. So we have funds that the city council allocates through the budget approval every year. And that's based on roughly 1% of the revenue that we bring in for fee-based programs. And so that's the concept. So it's just over $6,500 annually, and that's assuming that the council approves that. And then what's really great is we have the Park Foundation of Thurston County. That's Parks, Arts, Recreation, and Culture. They are a nonprofit that supports all and advocates for all the parks departments in the county. And they've been really great about donating money for scholarships specifically. So we've got some money built up, but we still want to keep trying to get that really stabilized, and maybe they would commit annually to that amount. You know, so we're still working on those sorts of things.
So if those funds are unused, does it roll over into the next?
So some of them do, so the funds that are in the annual budget do not
Do
roll
not.
over, right? So they're just general fund, and so they would not. But the donations that we've received for specific purposes, like youth scholarships, for example, we can restrict those donations and carry those over. So yes, we are carrying those amounts over, but you'll see we've built into the policy some percentages not to exceed, because we want to ensure that there's money for next year. Let's say if we do suddenly get a lot of interest, which we're really hoping that that happens, that would be a good problem for us to have, challenge. So there's a policy statement in here that the board has determined the program is necessary and appropriate to provide equity and accessibility to programs that charge fees for participation. These funds are available, however, they are limited, and so we need a policy on how to allocate them. We've got some definitions. I'm open if there's other items you think need to be defined in here, you can totally add that. So this is the one to your question, Commissioner. These are the types of funds that we currently have. So we have the annual scholarship program fund. That's the one that I just explained. And then we have donations. So for example, the Park Foundation Scholarship Fund. Eligibility, residents may request financial assistance for recreation programs every trimester. So we did do a very small update in 2021 because we moved from quarters to trimesters, and we decided to do produce a playbook, which is our recreation brochure of all the programs, 3 times a year instead of 4 for efficiency's sake. And so that was the update that you'll see at the end of the document. The update that was made in 2021 was basically because of that. So we have an update for the residency eligibility, and Sarah talked about it briefly. But basically, they have to show residency verification of the city limits are within the North Thurston Public School boundary, and that needs to be submitted with their application. And we accept an NTPS document or a utility bill. And then this part is new. In the absence of a permanent address, a referral may be submitted in lieu of residency documents. And then we'll get to that in section 7, which is a new section. For income, they need to provide verification of that. And we go by the Department of Social and Health Services requirements, which is typical for parks departments to do for free and reduced lunch. And that's what's used to determine income eligibility. So verification of income is required by one of the following. They would supply a copy of last year's tax return. They could just provide a document from North Thurston Public Schools that verifies the free and reduced lunch, or an NTPS benefits letter. This is something we had in the past policy. In lieu of income verification documents, a detailed letter of explanation outlining the financial need will be accepted. Please address in the letter why one of the other 3 options is not available as verification. These other options here.
Question,
Yes.
this might be a stupid question. Is the scholarship program only for like youth 18 and under? Or could parents with low income also use the funds to participate in an adult?
Yeah, so it's for any ages. But if the funding that we received specifically says youth, then it has to be for under 18.
Okay.
So we have some funding for both types currently.
What about, so I'm just thinking of parents who maybe don't have school age kids, but have daycare age kids, like someone on WIC or SNAP, would that also count toward documentation?
Do you know if WIC goes by DSHS?
I think,
They do.
well, I think Department of Health also. I'm not sure. It might be a blend of agencies. Not 100% sure. I don't want to throw a wrench in this. I was just.
Yeah, well, no, it's a good point. Yeah, I guess I would have to look into exactly.
Yeah.
What those types of verification are. Sarah, so Sarah processes all of
Oh,
the
yeah.
scholarship requests. Sarah, have you received any questions about WIC?
No, I have not. Usually folks are sending the DSHS stuff over or they send over, I get utility bills mostly is what I receive from folks.
You get what?
I get utility bills and things like
Utility
that the free and reduced lunch program also is usually what I get. Cause typically if they qualify for SNAP, they're also qualifying for that program. So I think usually people who tend to have one also have the other if they have kids.
I see, but what you're saying is if they're not in the North Thurston Public Schools yet, then.
Yeah.
There are some toddler programs out there.
Yes.
I know we also have a third option where they can provide their letter of financial need. So if they let us know, like my kid's not in NTPS yet, so we don't qualify for that program. And I didn't make enough to file tax returns or something like that, they can just write us a letter and we'll take it. So it just lets us know their situation.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Sarah. I think it's addressed here because they could say in their letter,
They're on the.
They're on
SNAP
WIC, yeah.
WIC or
Yeah.
and actually, I mean, we're hoping
assistance or something like that.
We're hoping for approval tonight because of the day camp registrations that are
Yeah.
starting to come in. However, if the board isn't comfortable, if you want us to look into something and bring it back, we could do that at the next meeting. We could also look into it for the next update if it's not a significant change, or if you think that it would be okay the way it is. So there's different options there. But yeah, I feel good about the fact that it would be covered.
Yeah.
In the letter. We do ask that eligibility get established each calendar year. So just beginning in December 1st, applications are accepted for the full following year. And then they would submit for whatever trimester they would actually submit the application. So a family who knows that they're going to have some need for that year, they can go ahead and send in their eligibility documents starting in December 1st. They don't have to do it then. They can just do everything at the same time. Say it's a spring program. They'll establish eligibility and fill out the application, but it just gives people the chance to get stuff done a little bit earlier if they choose to. So the procedure, so the executive assistant or designee reviews applications as received to ensure all the requirements have been met for income and residency eligibility. And then these are the deadlines for the different trimester programs. Applications that satisfy income and residency requirements are considered in order of date and time received. So Sarah keeps those in order in case we haven't had to turn anybody away yet. As far as like the amount of money that we have, but it's important that if it starts getting busier that we, have them first come, first serve.
Do they get priority with registration? Cause some classes would probably fill up. Is it first come,
No.
first serve?
So they don't get priority for registration, but we approve their applications before registration opens. So everyone's on an equal footing for applying for things. And we always tell folks like if this class is really popular, you want to make sure you're ready to register by 9 a.m. So we give everyone the same information to make sure that everyone has a chance.
And then this one here, decisions regarding scholarship awards should be made within 5 business days after receipt of application. That's just to keep us accountable and moving on them quickly. So if a household has already been awarded funding that calendar year, other households would take priority. So basically they'd be put in order how they came in. If there's more than the amount we have, anyone who has already had an opportunity would have to move to the bottom of the list. So if there's more requests than the amount of money, so they can get another scholarship, but we have to make sure that everybody else is served first.
And when you're saying households, is that if they had more than one child that they're applying for a scholarship for? If we're saying it a household, if I have 4 kids do each one of them, can I apply for 4 children to all get a scholarship, or do I have to fill a form out for each child that I enrolling in a program?
So basically you establish eligibility for the household, and then when you fill out the application, it's not a blanket, like, I just need this financial assistant. It's, we want to sign John up for T-ball, and so we need a scholarship for that. And so it goes by, the applications come in per child.
And so each child in
Is that
the
right, Sarah? Can you check me on this?
Yes, so the applications, we have a section where they fill out for us what they want to register for and who they want to register. So as long as we know that they're attaching the scholarship to a program, we put the full amount on their account no matter what. But we want them to make sure that they're using it to register someone for a class or program. It's to encourage the actual use of the funds, if that makes sense.
Can you say that again?
It encourages the actual use of those funds. So it makes sure that if we're because if someone is allocated or awarded funds and they don't use them for the program they applied to use them for, they still sit on their account. So they keep rolling over. Anything left over rolls over till the end of the year before it drops off. But if they are awarded funds and they're not using them, that's funds that could go to someone else that would use them. So we really try to encourage people to make sure that they're not just being awarded a credit on their account, that they're actually using that towards something. And part of the way that we help encourage that is by having them apply to a specific program. So it'll be applied to their account no matter what. They can change their minds when they're registering. But we really want to try and get people in the mindset that they're going to be actively registering for stuff. And so we try not to limit people based off of a program specifically, but we really want to make sure that they have something in mind that they want to register themselves or their kids for.
Did that answer your question? Okay, can you say it again?
So if we're saying household and let's say I have 4 or multiple children,
Yep.
do I put one, am I telling people in the public, you need 1 sheet of paper, 1 scholarship form for each child that's in my household? Or do I just apply my household and say I have 4 kids and I'm gonna use those scholarship however I deem necessary and split it with the 4 kids that I have?
So you split it among all of the kids. So you apply for all the you apply with all the kids' names and programs that they want to register, but no matter what, they're going to get a maximum amount for $100 for summer or fall, or $200 for the combined winter spring. So they're all kind of included on the same application. But it's per household limit.
So is it that this is where, if it's not clear how it's
Yeah,
worded,
yeah.
we would need to change it?
So if I had 4 kids and I wanted to sign them all up for $50 programs, that $100 would really only cover 2 of the kids' programs for my
Yeah,
house.
cover half of them.
Yep, but they could apply the next quarter.
For the other,
Yeah, for the others.
Yes.
There's still, if there's not people ahead of them that haven't received funding to that point in the calendar year.
Cause I kind of read that to mean, let's just say I had 1 child, I'm gonna get $200 for winter and spring. Regardless of what I put down, if I did put 4 programs down for that period of time or 1 program, it sounds like I get $200.
Yeah, you still would, because it's because we combined 2 of the quarters into a trimester.
so you could sign your 1 kid.
There's more programs. Yeah, so basically, yeah, so you could, yeah, if you had, Sarah, check us on this. If you had 1 child, you sign them up for something, they would be awarded the $200. And if they didn't use it all, they could use it for something else throughout the year. They wouldn't have to reapply.
Yeah, that's correct.
Oh, it's used for the whole year?
It will stay on their account. So basically our staff, so once we get to it down here, our staff applies it once they're approved,
Yeah,
apply it to their account. Then it's up to them to go and register, or they could call us. But they register for the program. If they don't use them, if they end up not using it,
Yeah.
it stays on their account until the end of the year, and then it drops off. So it doesn't roll over to the next year.
Yes, so it rolls over to each trimester, but not per year. So they'll keep it from January 1st until December 31st of that year.
But the same child, you're right, if it's a smaller family, the same child could use that versus a larger family.
Yeah.
So these are the things, this is where the board before said, let's see how it goes.
Yeah.
Let's see what or, not complaints, but let's see what challenges we have. And so far, we've had enough funds and we had COVID
Yeah,
that
Could
we
you-
haven't, so this is where it's hard to know.
yeah. It seems like a per child amount or per person amount almost be more equitable.
Yeah, the family with more kids probably need more assistance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just think
Yeah.
it gets you into some shady areas when if we're not clear, if we're saying household, I think that's the verbiage on that to me is a little.
Like your household gets approved for the income and eligibility. But then maybe
Two
the
kids gonna
amount.
do it, the other two gonna sit.
Sit at home and
Yeah,
do
that just
nothing.
feels.
I feel like it should be based on how many, just the people that are applying.
A child, so maybe it should read if a child has already been awarded funding that calendar year, other children would take priority. Every awarded person will receive blah, blah. And maybe that's, so Sarah, how would that change the way it worked
So-
for you if we said person instead of household?
So one of our limitations that I think this, because I wasn't around for the initial draft, but one of the limitations or reasons it might have been set up that way at first is because of the limitations of our system. So we don't have a way to attach an amount of funds to one specific person. We can only do it by account, and all the kids are under one parent over the account. So that's more of an administrative thing, it's more of an administrative reason why we went that direction. Because it'll just be a total amount, but we wouldn't, if they had 4 kids and we went per child, that would feasibly be, let's say they got $200 for all 4 of their kids, it's $800, but really only one of them wanted to register for anything, and they could use all $800 because it just sits on their whole account for one kid, if one kid wanted to go to day camp. Or like the other kids were older and they didn't actually want to do anything, the parents could still apply and get the funding and then not register those kids for those programs and use those funds for other kids in the family. So that's just a limitation of our system, really, more than anything.
Ties up the money for a long period of time when there
Yeah.
could be somebody else.
If I wonder if it could, I don't know how your system works, but if it could be like. Somehow it's tied to the household and then the household. Declares kind of like, these are the programs we want to sign up for. And like. We cover the cost of those programs. So it's more specific to the cost of the program than the fixed
Yeah,
dollar amount.
a more fixed dollar amount to the program
Yeah.
cost instead of.
And there's lots of different ways to do it. I do think, to Sarah's point, there's limitations
Yeah,
on the system. There's also the maintenance of it.
yeah, sure.
And so those were all considerations when this, was set up. Again, the reason it's coming before Parks Board is because the board wants to evaluate it and see, how it's working and how we might be able to change it to get to more people. So,
Have we had any complaints about bigger families not being able to benefit?
we haven't, but again, we haven't come up against our limits, so.
Right, yeah.
Well, and we haven't actually done the outreach. I mean, if we're gonna start going into
Yeah.
places where we've got people who are individuals in our community who need, multiple languages, or they're struggling to try to figure out, this would be very confusing and hard to try to figure out whether you even qualify for something on here. I mean, I'm thinking we have 5 steps here of whether I'm household or not. I mean, if we really are gonna go out and reach people where they're at, I could see some of this being challenging. I mean, even for me to talk about it. if I'm saying households and no, you need to fill out papers for these kids, here's all your papers. I need you to fill one out for each child, or I'm handing you a form and we gotta have you put all the kids on there, what programs I don't know. I'm trying to figure out how I would even.
Yeah, did you see the application form? Let's see, do we have one?
Yeah.
And that might.
So we ask which trimester, which family is member is the application for, which program. And then Sarah, if they have multiple children, do they just? do they
Usually people just make a list for me. I've had a bunch of them come in with multiple children. They just list them all out.
They list them here,
Yeah, I can add more lines to
or
that.
maybe more room here. Yep, and then they name what the application is for, proof of residency and financial need. So, yeah, I mean, I don't think we've had too many issues, but again, to your point of, if we're reaching out, there could be. So a couple of options here,
We didn't have that much money left over for doing a big push. There wasn't that much left over last year. You're getting a whole bunch more because you're
What was left
advertising
over
and-
last year?
yeah, we had a lot left over.
16.
Yeah, we did.
Have a lot.
Yeah, there was
I didn't-
16,000 that
I had
hasn't
the wrong graph then.
Oh, okay.
That's a lot of.
Yeah,
I
we,
thought it was a couple thousand.
okay, and it might have been for one of the funds. There's
From the
some-
general fund, I think, yeah.
Okay.
Yep, and we can certainly go up to that section. But no, there's a lot.
When I read the form, I thought, okay, I'm putting in the name of my children and what program they wanted to enter into.
Mhm.
I was expecting to see the exact dollar amount, like $25 or $35 that were related to the programs that they're gonna go would be credited to my account. And now find out I gotta fight it out with other people to register them. I'm gonna be disappointed if I don't get in, but to find I have $200 sitting there, I would think, oh no, somebody made a mistake. I didn't need $200. I just signed up for two $25 programs.
Yeah, well, I think,
But I understand that, computer systems and the limitations you're gonna
Yeah.
have. We don't want a bureaucracy of auditing all this weird money.
Yeah.
yeah, and just taking so much time to facilitate
Yeah.
it that we, in the end, say we can't run a scholarship program because we don't have the time. I
Yeah,
mean, we're
but
very
they have
lean, our
personnel.
staff,
Yeah.
So I think that's where that's how it was originally
Okay.
come up with. I might suggest giving it a year with more outreach. It's either that or if you have we can do an approve as amended, or if you'd like to send it back, we could, I'm not sure
One of the things that we're
how much time we'll
doing,
have.
one of the things that we want to do this year is at the very end of the year, or towards the end of the year, we want to send everyone, because we can run reports and see whose account is flagged with a scholarship or as a scholarship recipient. So one of the things we want to do is send an end of the year feedback survey and start asking them, because they might just have not told us that it wasn't enough funding, or they might have not said anything. And I mean, like, the don't look a gift horse in the mouth thing, like, I'm not going to complain about the scholarship program. It's money. So it could be that, but we want their feedback. And I think one of the things we want to implement this year is an end of the year survey. So I was going to make the same suggestion Jen did, which was give the scholarship program a year with the changes we're making, and then let us adjust to those changes. And then we can get feedback and see if I'm going to hang on to all of this, but if we get feedback that fits into this, into your guys's critiques on the program, that would be something that we should look at if we're aligned with the public on it.
I think that sounds good, especially because we haven't received any specific complaints. And knowing that this might be an issue, but would be good to see how.
We can also have Sarah do some research this year. She's, she is not the staff member who revamped it from the beginning. She's been here just going on 2 years. So that could be something to reach out to colleagues and just see what other people are doing. And specifically, who else has Civic Rec? That's our software with our limitations.
Okay.
Reach out to those agencies. Like, for example, I know City of Kirkland has Civic Rec, Ephrata has Civic Rec, and see how they're administering.
Okay.
I've got a question.
Yes.
It's kind of related, sitting here listening to all this. Say if I was a foster parent and I took in a couple of kids, but I can't afford to do these, but I need to get them some programs. Can we have a method where we could put it on the line item, it's approved by the director? If they came down and sat with you and said, this is my proof of my income, I'm retired, and I do care for foster children. And I don't know how all that is, but.
Yeah, I think that this,
The parks has a little bit of flexibility.
yeah, I think that's where this comes in, the C, number 3 under C, in lieu of income verification. Documents, a detailed letter of explanation outlining the financial need will be accepted. Please address in the letter why one of the other 3 options is not available. So basically,
That would fall, yeah.
yeah, they could send us a communication. Okay, so let's come back. Let's get through the rest of it. So here we are on the procedure. So let's see, any unused funds, I think we've already talked about this, remain on the household account for future use, but expire at the end of the calendar year. Refunds may not be requested for scholarship funds, so you know, they're either using it for the scholarship or it drops off, there's no refund given, and we did set a limit of $400 per household per year. And then the executive assistant or designee will provide the approvals to the department assistants, so they credit the accounts in the software. And then the funds, so then we have here our percentage, just so that we make sure we distribute the funding equally throughout the year. So funds are assigned to eligible recipients first from that annual scholarship program fund, but we want to allocate that out kind of in thirds. So, and again, we haven't yet hit this. So that this is the line item that's in the city budget.
So when you're talking about that $16,000 that was left over, that's,
That's this next one here, the annual scholarship fund,
okay.
or
Is that the 50%?
that's the scholarship donations one. Yeah,
Okay.
we have the annual scholarship program fund, and then we have the donations, scholarship donations. So the next line is, so if sufficient funding is not available for all requests in a given trimester from the annual scholarship program fund, then we would go to this next one. That's just within the first trimester. And we would consider allocating, but we wouldn't go over 50% of those, just to make sure. So for example, if there's 16,000 in there now, I'm not sure that's the exact correct number, because there's some other funds too. I think it's more upwards to 24,000. We would just make sure that we don't deplete more than 50% in 1 year. To make sure, in case we get no donations next year, we want to make sure that we have funding that's available.
Okay.
And then the executive assistant or designee will notify the applicant of the denial or award amount based on the application timeline. Executive assistant or designee will provide an annual report to the director and the Parks Board regarding fund balances and number of scholarship awards, kind of how she did with our analysis. And again, that's not something that we've had before, so we're excited to have Sarah at the helm of this program. So this is the new section, the residency referral. So in order to participate, a referral from the following sources may be submitted, and TPS homeless and foster care representative. Oh, there's your foster care commissioner. So DCYF, Department of Children, Youth, Families, Community Youth Services, or any other nonprofit or shelter representative. So that's that residency portion that they could help provide a referral for.
Okay.
And then this is something that would be new for all day camp programs spanning 3 consecutive days or more. Every household that's awarded will receive the funds necessary to cover the cost of participation for up to 2 weeks per child, as long as funding is available. If funding allows opportunity for additional weeks may be made available. So what this does is this allows our day camp program to use more of the funds.
More than that $200 limit,
Yes, for the all day camp programs.
as long as it's available.
And then we have deadlines for the day camp programs.
I mean, that, considering that the funds haven't been used, it's a
Yeah.
good deal for a family.
Well, and here's the other factor, we received, and Chair Goodwin reported out on some of our accomplishments from last year. We got SEEK funding for our regular day camp program, and then we also got full funding from the school district for our free summer program,
Wow.
which goes along with the summer nutrition program. I mean, we were in a great situation and didn't even have to use a lot of this money because of that. So we're gonna have years where we get funding, you know, the SEEK funds won't be available next year.
What is SEEK?
So SEEK was, you had the acronym, it was a special grant program.
Safe environment for every kid.
Oh,
Summer
Yep.
day camps.
Yep, and it was only for 2 years. We didn't apply the first year because you only had 4 weeks to submit. So that was 2021, and then, but we did prepare and apply for 2022. And there was, I think, about 10 or 11,000 out of the 68,000 that we got to run that program was for scholarships. So that's the piece that we're not gonna have this year that we want to be able to access for the all-day day camp program. And then there's deadlines for the day camp programs. It's just a little bit earlier than the other deadline. And then for all non-day camp programs, it would just be back to section 6, which is the regular policy. So anyway, the original date of a scholarship program was 2010. As I said, we did a major revamp in 2019. We did a very minor update in 2021 when we moved to the trimesters, and this is where the most significant change would be this number 7 and then putting it into the new format. So
So we need a motion for approval of this policy.
Yeah.
Is that what you're looking for? I'm fine with it. I think we need to work on scholarship being the title of it. So, I mean, I'm fine to
the
approve.
title.
I'm thinking that the scholarship, does it have to be called, it can't be financial aid
Oh.
or?
Oh, you're saying like in the policy itself?
Well, the form is also labeled as scholarship
And the website.
and the website is labeled as scholarship. So I know it'll probably change a lot of that.
Scholarship assistance program. Assistance program for, I agree with Wendy.
Yeah,
Financial assistance.
okay, so,
The policy itself is, I'm fine with it now that everything's been explained, and I feel like it will go through its works for this first year, but the scholarship part is where I'm getting kind of stuck. If we're gonna send this out as talking to our community members, that's the only sticking point I'm gonna have, I think, if I'm looking at who I'm speaking with in the.
yeah, so you're suggesting, wherever it says scholarship, it's financial assistance rather than scholarship.
I think so. I think financial assistance is more common language that I would be using. If you need financial assistance to join any of our programs, please feel free to sign up. We're happy to help you with that.
It's commonly used right now.
Yeah,
yeah.
Easy to translate, maybe easier to translate too.
But other
So
than-
that would be
An
approval as amended,
Mhm.
and then everywhere we see scholarship, we would just change to financial assistance.
Is everybody okay? with it?
I agree.
So
Do we have a motion?
I would like to make a motion to approve the financial the scholarship policy updates, approve or move.
Got this.
It's getting late. A motion to approve the scholarship policy update as amended.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any further discussion? Hearing none. I move to approve the scholarship policy update as amended. Thank you, Jen and Sarah, for putting that all together and answering all our questions.
And thank you for all the great recommendations. And so our commitment as staff is to review in a year, survey our participants, to Sarah's point, and research what other departments are doing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd appreciate that. And then, yeah, the wording on scholarship.
Yep,
Awesome.
great. We have our marching orders.
It's a very exciting program.
Thank you. Yeah, it is. And we're excited to really get the word out there and, like I said before, solidify funding. So,
Oh, my family could have used it.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah. Can I take a
Fine.
quick bio break?
Yes, absolutely.
And where's the bathroom?
Yes,
Right.
right out here. Yeah. Sarah, we're gonna take a quick break.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, is the board ready to resume?
Is it rude if I?
We're on 8C.
Okay, final sponsorship and naming rights policy.
Yes, so this is just for your information only.
Yeah.
Let me make you do it for a second. Close your eyes. There it is. Okay. This is the final version of the Parks, Culture and Recreation Department sponsorship and naming rights policy. And this is one because of the naming rights component. This actually is a city council policy. So it gets approved through the Parks Board and then on to city council for final approval. And so with the update, the Parks Board had 2 meetings with the Commission on Equity. So just kind of filling those of you that are new in, there was a meeting November 14th of this past year, 2022, and then January 25th, I believe it was, and which culminated to this final policy. And then it went before City Council on March 2nd and was approved. So we wanted to make sure that we circled back, made sure that you all got the final copy. So we're not actually going to read through it, but just wanted to point out that that we do have our changes. And so there's definitions, there's examples of types of sponsorships that we have in the department. We point out that it's a non-public forum. We have a disclaimer of endorsement. And then we have the eligibility criteria. And this is the part that was really worked on in detail as far as making a very consistent process for anybody, any person. And that's something that we identified. It was a corporate sponsorship policy prior, But now we've identified the person, and where do we have that? Let's see. Point that out, because that's gonna be significant for you all to know.
Oh, are you define?
It's, yes, oh, it's in the,
Yeah.
there it is, under sponsorship is a relationship with a person. So a person means an individual, a corporation, a limited liability company, or any other legal or commercial entity where that person provides money, goods, or services to Lacey Parks over a specified term. And in return, the person receives acknowledgement of the sponsorship via specific benefits such as inclusion in marketing, signage, digital media, promotions, on-site activation, and display area. The person may also receive other benefits, including certain designations, category exclusivity, or the use of the Lacey Parks logo. So we do have the examples of the sponsorship types, but it's not limited to, so we have other types, but some of our main ones are naming rights, park partner, presenting sponsor, and a title sponsor. And then the other thing I wanted to point out with the eligibility criteria is that these are, you know, you can read through it on your own, but there are several items that are part of the criteria. And so the director or designee may use, but is not limited to the following criteria when evaluating a sponsorship proposal. And then in all cases, the director or designee has the prerogative to accept or reject the proposal. So we talk about compatibility of the person's background, products, customers, and promotional goals as compared to the City of Lacey's mission, the park's mission, the City of Lacey's equity values and mission, and environmental stewardship. The person's past record of involvement with the city, community support for or opposition to this proposal or previous agreements, impact on the community and park or program where the sponsorship is implemented. And then there's also timeliness factors, the actual value in cash or in-kind goods or services of the proposal in relation to the benefit of the person, and then the operating and maintenance costs associated with the proposal. So there's a lot of different things that are reviewed when it comes to this. And essentially, it's a business agreement really that's entered into. And so these are the eligibility for that to happen. And I want to just point out, especially since we have new members, these are different than donations, right? A donation is when somebody's just giving something. This is an actual sponsorship agreement, a business agreement. And so we have a new tool. So there's a lot of information in here about what type of advertising is allowed and what is not allowed.
So do you have a separate donation policy?
Yes, and it's being worked on right now. And I really wanted to get it here tonight, but we're still reviewing it. So that'll be coming really soon. So a lot of items that are not allowed that are in here. And then the procedure. So the person, remember, it's that category of different types of entities proposing to be considered shall submit a sponsorship questionnaire. So this is something that's new, and that right after the March 2nd approval, we've started using it. So we have a special events and sponsorship and marketing supervisor that oversees our sponsorship program. And so she has been sending that out. This is a really busy time for sponsorships because we're getting them lined up for the whole year. And it's actually been going really, really well. It's a nice tool. It does take a little more time, but it doesn't have to be done every time for the same person. And so it's, once we kind of review that sponsor and get them in the door, it's something that can be used for quite a while. So, yep. And then the director or designee may use the sponsorship matrix. So that's just a grid for us to keep our notes on, but we don't have to. And then it also says in here that we may reach out to boards such as yourself and or the Commission on Equity if we need advice on a particular sponsorship. So this is the questionnaire. It's also in your packet. So this is the thing that we've been sending out to ask the questions to the eligibility criteria that exist in the policy. And then this is the matrix that we can keep notes for ourselves. And
You know,
So are there any questions about the sponsorship policy?
like at
Yes.
the rack, you got a digital sign, reader board sign. Can you legally advertise through this policy on that sign?
Yeah, we can put that. So what would happen is if they were gonna get advertising on that sign, it would be in their agreement. So we outline all the details of what they're getting. We outline what we're getting and then what they're getting in those agreements.
So you can sell advertising rights to them.
Yeah, it would be part of their sponsorship. We're not just gonna sell straight advertising, but it's a sponsorship agreement.
Some come back, you know. The tournaments, you got all these big tournaments, see that plans around.
Mhm.
To me, I used to go watch a lot of softball, as enjoyed it in the evening. Get the stuff out there, I mean, that's a pretty good point, can we get more of those up and make some money off them, rather illegal?
Oh, yeah,
Sponsoring.
well, actually, so it's interesting you bring that one up. So there are rules because that's a state highway. Highway 510. Yeah, so if we were gonna get something else, so we've been approved for what we have there right now.
Yeah.
If we were going to put something else in, we would have to get approval from them. I don't have that info at my fingertips, but I know.
Well, the other thing is all the schools now are going to, like, digital reader boards,
Yeah,
and a lot of them are elevated, like you got this soccer program or big tournament going on, do that, can they, with schools, can we help promote those kinds of things too, to bring in revenue?
we do have a joint use agreement with the schools and they do allow a lot of advertising from us. So that's something we could ask them about.
Yeah, I mean, get the word out.
Yeah.
Special events or.
Yep.
Just like this weekend, if you had a Easter egg hunt, get it known where it is.
Yep. Yeah, in fact, the interlocal agreement is going before council, so you all looked at it. There is a section on marketing. It doesn't call out the digital reader boards per se, but it talks about working together with the school district for additional methods of advertising. So I think that would fall under that.
And no protesting, right?
Huh?
You can't have any protesting. That covered in there?
Oh, well.
I forgot it.
Sponsorship, right, it's not a forum for, see, how's it worded?
Not a public forum.
It's not a public, yeah,
Does that mean it's not a free speech
non-public
public
forum,
forum?
Yeah.
right? So the city's acceptance of sponsorships and advertising included in the agreement does not provide or create a general public forum for expressive activities for discourse and debate. So that's through the sponsorship policy, but people can have free speech, of course.
Yeah.
Okay, so no action necessary, just want to make sure you all have the final copy. The next one,
Annual report.
oh, whoops, I should keep up. Yes, so this is our annual report. We are looking for approval from the Parks Board. And this is something that we really are always excited about each year. I'm gonna make this a little bit smaller here. Let's see.
The logo is just so cool.
Oh, thank you. We redid that in
great.
2020, so it's fairly new. So we do partner, as I've alluded to before, with the Public Works Department. So we have the, Parks, Culture, Recreation. Public Works actually oversees the park maintenance side of things, and then also the capital projects team is under the Public Works Department. So it really, really is a partnership, and we so appreciate the partnership, and they really keep our parks looking amazing. They just do such wonderful work. You'll meet Jamie Oakland. He's our parks maintenance supervisor. He's not here tonight, but he does attend a lot of the meetings, and he'll give a report on some of the stuff that's going on out there as well. But this is just our chance to really give an overview of our park system and our program, some of the highlights that we have. This will be great for new commissioners to be able to, see what we have in our inventory. So we talk about the park inventory here. We highlight our athletics facilities, and we like to give Lots of statistics. For example, the RAC brought in $446,113
Wow.
in 2022, and this, these are the hours that were rented. This is the tournament and league attendance. What we don't have on there is the non-tournament attendees. Has over 1 million people a year at the RAC.
Really? Yes. Oh my God.
But that's something, so if you see something in this report that you would like to see moving forward, if there's some type of statistic or information, we would love to hear what that is. This is our recreation program. We show hours of recreation generated, including events, our participation in events and programs. We highlight all of our family events, annual events there. Show the total revenue brought in by recreation programs, museum and community buildings, some more stats there. The museum, and I think I mentioned this to the new commissioners, is falls more under the historical commission. And so, but there are some projects that overlap. So we talk about days of use and revenue from facility rentals. Parks maintenance, we just show a couple of stats that they like to highlight. 37,100 restrooms cleaned, but that was
That's
kind
good
of
work.
amazing.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Very much appreciated.
This is a nice tool to kind of educate people on what the park maintenance is doing. They show total staff hours by category, so you can see the janitorial and park cleanup is by far the highest number of hours that parks maintenance is spending. Park maintenance has quite a lot of hours as well. Here we have some parks maintenance highlights.
That page right there, it's like the bubble is over the top.
Oh, whoops. Oh, yeah. Okay. We'll fix that. Good eye.
You're right.
Yeah.
Is
I
there-
was looking
is there
through some
high leg?
pictures. Huh?
It's a high leg.
It's a highlight. Yeah, highlight.
I thought you meant to do it. They had to put a spotlight through. I was inferring.
So a lot of these highlights we did talk about in our highlights to the, on the joint work session as well. So there's gonna be some crossover there, some more highlights, program and park enhancements.
There's so much information.
We had a lot of grants this year. This whole
Gosh.
middle column here is pretty amazing.
Wow.
Yeah, this is that SEEK grant that we unfortunately won't have next year, or this year, sorry. The budget, so this is partnerships and budget, so we really pride ourselves on partnerships to try to be more efficient with the public's money and just bringing more to the community really together. So these are some of our major partners that we like to highlight. And then just to show what it costs, so this is the Parks Department and the Public Works Department to pull off the 1,200 acre park system and all of the programs and events that we offer. It's just under $6.5 million to operate our park system. And we have it broken out here by the recreation program. So these are expenditures, parks maintenance, we have the RAC, and then we have the facilities. So these are the revenues and then these are the expenditures, and then we have the revenues broken out in the other areas. And we state that revenues are generated by program and rental fees here. We have the value of our volunteer hours. We have so many wonderful volunteers. It's pretty amazing.
Wow.
These are the volunteer hours at events and programs, and then the parks, work parties. So we're always looking to find new volunteers. We have a volunteer coordinator in our department. Here is where you all get to give your message, and you have approved this at your last meeting. So we took that and inserted it in here. So we'll need to get some photos of our new commissioners. So we'll have Sarah work on that.
And are the youth representatives, Declan, so
Can I get a retake?
You can get a retake. I think this looks good though, Gary.
Like a park ranger. I like it.
Yeah, I do.
Declan? He hasn't been on the, he's,
And then we have our leadership team from both departments. So myself and then Scott Egger is the Director of Public Works. We have an operations manager And the parks maintenance is one of the 4 legs of that operations there. Sue Faylash is our recreation manager. You'll meet her. She comes to most of the parks board meetings, but she wasn't able to be here tonight. Oh, and I just noticed another typo, so we'll take that out. So yeah, we have a message from Scott Ager and myself here. And yeah, so essentially that's the 2022 annual report, and if you would
Very nice.
be so kind as to.
Good job.
Yeah, it's
Thank
great.
you. It's a good year, and I think even gonna be even better in 2023, so.
Busy.
Um,
And I think Declan is up there as well.
Yeah, so Declan, because he was here part of the year,
Oh,
we left him on there.
for 2022.
Mhm.
Oh, okay. Aram
Yeah.
needs an updated picture. Commissioner Wheeler needs to update his picture. He looks nothing like that.
Hey Jen, very random, but Scott, the operations manager, was actually who helped me. Sorry. I had to say it when I saw his face.
Oh, okay.
Down towards the bottom.
Yeah, Scott on there, just so you know, that's who helped me with when I,
Scott Devlin?
yes, that's who helped me.
Okay. Thank you. So yeah, if you would consider a motion as amended, of course, so we can
Yes.
fix that, those couple little typos.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the annual report. All those in favor? Those opposed? Any further discussion? Hearing none, move to approve the annual report for 2022
As amended.
as amended. Thank you.
Awesome.
All right, now we move to the director's report, staff presentations.
So we don't have a staff presentation for tonight, and I actually don't have anything until 9C.
Programs and special events.
Yeah, the program updates, and this is typically our recreation manager will give this, and this is just the happenings from all of our different program areas. So I'm not gonna go through word for word, but we really love having it in this format. This is something new we've been having our supervisors do, is update for the Parks Board. And so let me, some of you are kind of squinting, it's a little bit bigger. We have the aquatics and volunteers. And I'll just highlight a couple of things. So it looks like she's reporting out on some of our hirings for aquatics, and then she's talking about our some of our volunteer programs. So the same supervisor that does aquatics is our volunteer coordinator. And so she is reporting out that all the adopt trails and adopted parks have been adopted, the ones that we have available. So that's kind of cool.
Aw, awesome.
Special events, report out on cultural celebration. We had over 2,600 people attending. Family Fishing is coming up April 15th. That's actually coming up really soon. 2 of the sessions are full with 100 kids each. And that's over at Woodland Creek Park in Longs Pond. Oh, she does have a note to Parks Board members, if anybody's interested in helping out. Oh, because Lacey Spring Fun Fair is coming up. That's one of our biggest annual events. It's at St. Martin's University. So if Parks Board is interested in helping at the information booth, we just need to let Jeanette know. She is our events supervisor, and she'll get you on the schedule.
May 20th?
May
Saturday
20th
and
and
Sunday.
21st.
Saturday.
Yep.
I think my name was just automatically submitted.
I'll tell you what, just email Sarah and she'll get your information over to Jeanette.
Sarah Smith, you already sent mine, right?
Are you looking for folks to volunteer the whole day or part of the day or whatever they can offer?
It's whatever, yeah, it's whatever they can offer. So they have this really big, it's such a big event that there's a very large information booth, like right
Yeah.
when you come into the gym area.
Yeah.
And so they just do shifts and make sure that there's, 3 or 4 people there at a time. So it would just be whatever you're available for.
Okay. Who should I email
Just
Sarah?
Email
Yeah,
Sarah.
if you email me, I will get your information to Jeanette. And yes, I did already let her know, Wendy.
Thank you, Sarah.
You're welcome.
So we did open, so park rentals, we have the park shelters in some of the parks, they're first come, first served. In some of the parks, you have to book them. So they were all available February 1st. The Lacey Depot was available March 1st. We're hoping to get that all, the Lacey Depot is a fairly new facility for us. we're hoping those can all sync up next year to be February 1st. Rentals are available April through October for those shelters and for the depot. It looks like we've already got almost 100 private rentals scheduled with $8,000 in fees collected. The Jacob Smith House has rentals. We also do classes there. The community center had 40 private rentals in March. And we also do classes at that as well. There's a lot on the regional athletic complex. I'll let you all read through at your leisure. But we do have a lot of stuff coming up in April. And we also, this summer, we're gonna have the biggest tournament we've ever had at the RAC and surrounding areas. So that's youth, fast pitch.
That's huge. Oh, women's.
Yep.
Yeah, so go on vacation
So
during
we're
that.
super excited about that. Gearing up for Lacey Little baseball. Most of our fields are in use by local sports organizations, but it's great to see the amount of participation in youth sports this spring. And then it looks like we've got a couple new staff on board helping out. So, oh, and we had this cross-country program is new, so we're excited about that, and that's just kicking off right now. That's all I have for programs and special events, and that's in your packet. And then as far as my other items, 9F,
Can you back up? And your construction project.
yes,
Yeah, you're rumored that you're paying up for that. Parking lot.
the parking lot, yes. It's on the Parks Board work plan. Yep, That one's-
You're not doing it during the summer,
yeah. We are,
being considered and coordinated. with all that.
yes,
You're not going there and grading the storm and.
Yeah. We're pursuing some other parking options, we'll say that. It's been, the project has gotten delayed. We were trying to time it so that it's not during the busiest season, but probably is going to be. So we're working on some alternate parking.
Yeah, I would
Situations.
suggest using intercity transit. Take the bus. It's free.
You got stock in that inner city transit.
do.
Okay.
I do. If you want to go park somewhere,
I know they got North Thurston and all that.
but if you gotta park somewhere, I would
It's
take
a busing
intercity
option
transit.
during this big tournament.
Yeah, so the school district is gonna let us use the Nisqually site. And then we're looking into another option, but I don't really want to say it right now.
Okay.
Because it's not finalized yet, but yes, we'll see, and we'll see when the project actually goes out to ad and. Because sometimes the schedule changes, so, yeah, it's been a challenge, I will say that. Yeah, actually, it's been on the work plan, it just has gotten delayed, so.
You better not start it right. Some of these, phase runs and.
Yeah, we're definitely working with the capital projects team to figure that out, so. Good question. I do have for grants, I am having the Park Foundation of Thurston County look into a $50,000 grant from REI for Great Keel Park. So that's a new opportunity.
Which park?
So this is the new one that I was talking about in the beginning.
Oh, good.
Yeah, we've put in for a couple different grant opportunities, but this one is a new one that I've been working on just in the past month. It's interesting how they do it, build a relationship with the store. And share about the project. And so I did a big write-up, and then the Park Foundation, they actually have some connections with the store, some of the staff, and so they're
You have $5?
meeting with them. So the limit is $50,000. So we're putting in for the maximum now. Since it's about a $5.5 million project, every little bit will help. So yeah, so fingers crossed on that one. And then the only miscellaneous item, and maybe Commissioner Good was gonna talk about the Gold Star Monument. They had the dedication on March 31st. I was not able to be there, but I'm so happy that it's installed and it looks beautiful, and I'll let her tell more
You want to move to
during
commissioners?
her report. Yeah, and I'll,
Okay.
Thank
So
you.
we'll move to commissioners report. Commissioner Vice Chair Good, would you like to share? Hi.
Hi, This past Friday, the Gold Star Families Monument, which is in Civic Lacey Plaza off of Slater Kenny right there by Applebee's. And it was an incredible event. We had hundreds of people participating at the event, and local offices, and Department of Veterans Affairs was speaking there. JBLM Joint Command was present. I spoke as well. I don't know if you know, Jen, but if you go on the Department of Veterans Affairs page, they ran a live feed of it, so you're welcome to see it.
Oh, cool.
And even though you don't know, I did give the Parks Department a big shout out, because you poor people have put up with the Gold Star Foundation board for several years. And yes, I promise you that was a temporary fix on the landscaping. I promise you, I'm working on it right now this week. And we've got people making beds because we have to redesign the architects because of the ADA compliance ramp that got placed in. The original design no longer fits. So we're working on that too. So,
Okay.
but yeah, we're moving forward on it. It's absolutely gorgeous. And our fundraising event was amazing too as well. So, and like I said, at that fundraising event, the operations manager doctored me up. So I appreciate that too. So.
Okay. Yeah, and this is for those of you that don't know, this has been a long time in the works. And do you know the final amount of fundraising that got raised, Commissioner? For that?
From the gala, I'm not sure, but it was close to 100K on the monument.
For the monument itself. So if you haven't seen it, it's one of our park sites. It's actually owned by the Department of Transportation, Washington State Department of Transportation. So we helped get the permit for the Gold Star Foundation to put the monument in.
Okay.
And our parks maintenance maintains the area. But the Gold Star Foundation will be maintaining the monument itself. So we have an MOU with them, but it is just absolutely gorgeous.
Yes, the monument itself honors fallen soldiers and their families that are left behind. And on the back of the monument, which is facing kind of where the Sears is, each panel represents homeland, which shows Mount Rainier. It has family, which it has that statue that's over there by Costco here in Lacey. And then Patriot is actually image from the Battle of Iwo Jima, because of a Medal Honor recipient that actually created the monument was at the Battle of Iwo Jima. And then there is some images from Arlington National Cemetery that is on the final panel, which is considered sacrifice. But yeah, it's a solid granite. It is gorgeous. And I'm so excited to see it finally completed, installed. We are expecting that once they complete the phase 2 of the all of the landscaping and the brick install, that we'll have a rededication of those bricks as well. So
Congratulations.
thank you. You can't miss it driving down Slater Kenny. This is giant, solid, flat granite. It's beautiful.
Beautiful. Awesome.
Yeah. And did you get your flag back?
Not yet. I have not. I figured, she would email me when she was ready to give it back. So.
Okay, I'll make sure you get it.
All right. Thank you.
And we'll get to know our brand new commissioners now. Would you like to start?
Sure. I'm Hillary, as you know. I've lived in Lacey since 2016. I grew up in Puyallup and Tacoma, and then husband imported me here. But yeah, I love this area. I think it's a great place to raise a family. My grandpa was in the military, so I really appreciate the way that Lacey honors veterans and values the environment and providing recreation for everybody. So it's just really exciting to be a part of this work. I currently work at Department of Health and I have two littles. Thomas is 3 and Ransom is 1. And excited to explore the very busy, yeah. And Thomas and I like to go out into the trails at Wonderwood Park and build fairy houses. Something that we do together. So if you see any little structures built with bark, it's probably ours.
Now I have something to go look for.
Yeah. That's your neighborhood, right?
It is. Yes.
My name's Bill Osprey, born and raised in Lacey. My grandparents got here in the 1930s. They used to have a house where it was Sterling Savings, since now it's Umpqua Bank or something. They used to own that property. Went to Lacey Elementary and Lakes, Nisqually and Timberline.
Wow,
When I finished college, moved back,
great place to come back to.
and it is a great place to raise a family. So my boys have already graduated from Timberline High School. They went to the same high school I did.
Wow.
I work for the city of Tacoma and I'm hoping to retire this year sometime.
Well, if you're with us, it's retreading. You're not retiring.
That's
We
right.
will retread you.
And it's definitely not another chapter either. It's gonna be the main.
What
So-
years did your sons graduate? 16?
They graduate, well, the youngest graduated in 21, so right during the pandemic. They did weird graduation with little pods of 50 people, so he didn't even get to walk with any of his main friends who were in a different
He
pod.
was robbed.
He was
Oh,
robbed.
that's so sad for all those kids.
And then my oldest graduated in 2018, and then he went to Oregon State. He's graduated now. He's getting his master's at Washington State, and the youngest is at Washington State right now.
Go
And
Cougs.
and we're Huskies,
Oh.
so
Sad for you.
I know it's sad. I don't care. I don't care. It's a great
What's he
school.
getting his master's in at WSU?
Chemical engineering.
Oh, good.
That's what he got his undergraduate in. And he's gonna stay and work on a PhD. So,
Oh.
yeah, he's smart.
I went to WSU. So
I was just there for Parents Weekend.
So your
Just got back today.
child goes there too?
Yep, I was sophomore.
Wow.
They probably know each other.
They might. He's in construction engineering.
Okay.
So. they
The
might.
youngest is business. So he's gonna be an accountant.
Our sons were in high school together.
They were,
Mine graduated in 2016.
must have.
Yeah. 2 years apart.
Yeah, they both did swimming, but the younger hated swimming. So after about the first week, they said, hey, we need divers because we only have 2 divers. And so he went over and became a diver. And he went to state.
Oh my gosh.
Sophomore and junior year, and he never dove in his life.
Wow.
And then his senior year, we had the COVID and then he couldn't go.
We had to put up with John Myers.
And he had to put with John Myers in his 70s.
Yeah, and
Is that the
John, My-
coach?
yeah, and John Myers is in our neighborhood as well by Wonderwood.
And he finally got a state champion
Yeah,
Yeah.
for
Mine-
the girls this
yeah.
last time.
my daughter swam state 4 years in a row at Timberline.
Awesome.
Yeah,
we
But
did
she,
goodness.
she was 2016. Yeah. Something like that. I don't even know when my kids graduate. 14 and 16 is
I
when my
know,
kids
that's a
graduate.
weird question.
Yeah,
I know how old they are.
exactly. I know exactly how old they are. They remind me all the time. I'm a grown up. That's great. Yeah. So yeah, we're like neighbors. Yeah, for sure.
Well, I'm very excited to be part of this group. My son moved to Portland 6 years ago, and then my husband and I transplanted from California up to here.
Welcome.
All good,
Oh.
yeah. And then my son.
You said it with
years
like, you
ago?
said it with like a question mark, so I didn't know if I was.
No, I absolutely
I
love
have so
it.
many transplants.
Yeah,
in
like
place.
top
Yeah.
It's not like that.
Top secret.
Absolutely love it. And then my son just bought a house up in Duval by Redmond.
Oh.
So by the end of the month, all of us will be in Washington, which is,
Oh, exciting.
which is really nice. So I'm excited. My background is early childhood development. And I just absolutely love parks for children and Parks and Rec, just the whole thing. It's just so essential. And when I hear about the child development building and hopefully having parenting classes for the parents out there, just a passion of mine. So this is a good fit for me to volunteer in the city. I'm really happy about it.
Thank you.
on board.
Happy to have you.
Yeah, put up with marijuana.
Yeah.
That's trouble.
What's up with me? You want anything?
So do you have a commissioner's report?
I do,
Go for
and it's
it.
lengthy.
Go for it.
So everybody get ready, buckle up. So for the Great Cuyo Park, which we've gone over many times, we are still looking, last I spoke with Sarah, for another tour date in May to go over the seasonal changes. So we do need to meet with Jamie and Glennis again, and we're hoping at this opportunity in May that all of you will be available to do a tour with us and kind of walk the park and see how the magnitude and the magnificence of it. So,
Yeah,
Would be awesome.
yeah.
so
So
work with Sarah to get something. If we are gonna have a quorum, we need to advertise it as a public meeting and open it to the public.
yeah,
So we'll need to know sooner than later on that.
yeah. So I was just kind of putting the
Okay.
word out, just another one of those. Right. I want to thank you, Jen, for the information for Thurston County Public Works on 62A and 62B for me. I went and talked to Brandy Schroeder and Mike Lohman for the Thurston County roading and all of that. And they moved it to top priority for us. We've had a gentleman that fell in the suicide lane right in the middle of that area. And I think I'm gonna be kind of at the mountaintop of talking about making sure that our community met with DEI. Inclusivity means that our busing routes take care of our community members that are in need of mass transit. It was scary and nobody could get to him, and I can't, we as volunteers or as staff members from the food bank cannot prevent people from walking that across that street.
Where is that?
At the Lacey County Food Bank, across from Frank Bakery. 62B and 62A run that track, and when you go across the street, it's 5 lanes of traffic, and we've got people trying to carry groceries. They have walkers, wheelchairs, small children, strollers, and to cross straight across, you can't do it. There's no signal, there's no light, you run across there like Frogger. And the other option is you walk up 2 blocks, cross the street, and then walk down a block to get onto the bus. So what do you?
So just to clarify, it's not a Parks Board issue, but I was able to help her and our Public Works Director direct her over to the county. So it's on Martin Way, and so it's in the county, and she volunteers at the food bank, so.
Yeah.
They can move the bus stop.
Let's,
That's the easiest solution.
yeah, so there's just a lot of talk about it, and so it was just terrifying that it happened to that gentleman, so just trying to work through the city to do that, but it is part of culture. I think we need to take some serious moments to think about the culture that we're developing with our inner city transit to help those members of our community. And I wanted to thank Councilmember Vasquez for helping with Route 60, which is also talking about our medical services for the free clinic, because we are open till 8 o'clock at night, and many of our clients use the busing for that as well. The cultural event at St. Martin's on March 4th, great that the Lacey Equity booth was there and their commissioners were there to support them. So I appreciated that, and seeing them there, the performances, the vendors, the information that was being provided to our community members was so valuable. Though the community members really responded well to just how the interactions work. So I appreciate you putting in so much diversity and helping people really get good resources and information.
The MC was just so welcoming.
Yeah,
It was amazing.
yeah,
She was fun to watch. and listen to.
yeah. So I want to thank your recreation coordination team.
I'll let them know.
Yeah, and Jeanette, let her know. I saw her there. I just can't say enough about all of them. Yeah, the walk and roll program, or I attended walk and roll open house on March 7th. They have their new location at 2955 Martin Way, East Olympia. They are interested in partnering with us. They really, really want to do a biking event either at Wonderwood, the Rack, or Woodland Creek, because that would be open venue. So A. Curry and Carrie Wilson are going to come up with information to help us with the fun booth. Lacey Spring Fun Fair booth in May.
Oh.
And they're gonna be there on Saturday, and then they're gonna hand all their brochures and paraphernalias, all their swag to us to help promote the walk and roll programs.
Okay.
So, but they want to do a partnership like a biking event in one
Okay.
of our parks, so.
Okay, so are they already signed up for Lacey Spring Fun Fair? They already have.
Yeah,
turned
they
in
have their own
Okay,
booth
good.
on Saturday.
They've already got it turned in.
Yeah,
Okay,
and then
okay.
they will give us their stuff on the, kind of partner with us on, could give us their stuff on the Sunday.
Okay, so we'll just need to talk about what that exactly means. And if we have some type of proposal, so this is an item that's on your work plan headed up by Chair Goodwin.
Walk and roll.
Yeah, so we can, and so let's put that on an agenda. Yeah,
Okay.
yep, for sure. Yeah, and see what that might look like.
And then, so thank you. I attended the Black and African American Community Forum on March 21st. So these were things that were directly brought up for parks, things that they're looking for. And did you get
Yeah,
information?
so Commission on Equity shared.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. Do we need to share here?
If you have anything additional, I mean, was it more about inclusivity all year? And like to the point of having the kiosks or the signs out in the park to meet people where they are?
Yeah, and they were also looking for more diversity for community members at our movie, music and food options on some of the stuff that we're providing as services. So they kind of working with vendors or people that are of more diversity in our neighborhoods, kind of reaching out in that way.
Yeah.
And then centralization, like you were talking, resources and of our information and access. They want to see more of that for our nonprofits as well. A partnership tighter with Olympia Tumwater to identify resources that we can share as diversity is growing in our local areas. How can we share some events, partnerships with other areas? Because also is in Tumwater, and we've got some things in Olympia that we don't have in Lacey, so they'd like some greater partnerships there. And then I wanted to thank Rick Walk and Shannon Kelly Fong for attending that event with me, and all the other commissioners that were at the event. And I was so impressed with their t-shirts and name badges. Mission on Equity has t-shirts and name badges. I'm just-
Name
badges? Yeah, name badges and t-shirts, yeah. They look so official.
Not like the paper ones.
Yeah, it's like, hello, my name is.
Yeah, actually, you just reminded me, on that note, you all are supposed to get these. We didn't have them during COVID.
Oh.
And so it's been a while.
Lanyard
You're
and
supposed to have these,
everything?
they don't actually grant access, but it's an ID.
For like an
that you can-
event, if we get
Yeah,
to
for-
an event or something.
Yeah, event or even at the meeting, so.
So you don't get labeled the strange lady wandering around the park and talking to you.
Oh, yeah, you look, yeah.
And
Is that
actually,
you?
And the strange lady came up and talked to you in the park.
In the
In the park.
Yeah. So that could,
So,
Want your nameplate on the front?
well, yeah, our meetings,
Mm-hmm.
I'm for our names.
Yes,
oh, yes, yep,
yeah,
we have those, actually, tabletops.
Yeah.
yeah. So that was and it was well attended. And I wanted to also, many thanks to Commissioner Vice Chair Good on the amazing and much needed memorial site for our military families and those who served and those who struggle with the loss of fallen comrades. Thank you, Commissioner Vice Chair Good. I wanted to thank Councilmember Kunkel and Councilmember Stedman for being involved in the service, and Rick Walk and Shannon Kelly Fong were there. Jeanette was there, and Jamie Oakland was also present. So I wanted to give a thank you and appreciation for everyone's hard work this month. It was pressing. It was pressing, and
I'm busy.
it's been really busy, and I thank you all for all the events you do and for the support you give us. So thank you.
Thank you.
On that note. All right, I will make a motion. Oh,
You don't need to motion. You don't need it.
oh, I can just say,
adjourn. Yep.
we can just adjourn
At 7:43.
at 7:43. Sarah, we're adjourning. Seriously.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, everyone. Have a good night.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Everybody have a nice Easter.
That's right.
thank you.
Yeah.